In this session, you will work with me to create a temperature conversion app. Basically what we're looking for is a simple app that just converts temperatures between Fahrenheit and Celsius. I'm assuming that you've already worked through the skills demonstrations and you have a general understanding of how to do basic input and output, as well as arithmetic and text-based processing. Feel free to pause this video at any time and work on this on your own, or you can try and work ahead. I'm going to start by sketching out an interface of what I want my app to look like. So, at its core, the idea is I've got a temperature and a place where I can enter that value in, and I've got a button that says convert, and I've got a result temperature. Right? And maybe, so I type in, 212 degrees, I'm assuming Fahrenheit. Maybe I'll put a label out here, degrees Fahrenheit. I push the convert button, and I get my result, 100 degrees Celsius. That makes sense, right? Easy enough to do? Do you think you can do that? Before you run off and do that, though, we want to think, what my description said was, I'd like to be able to convert between Fahrenheit and Celsius, between kind of going both ways. So I need a way to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit as well. So what I could do is I could create another text box down here, degrees Celsius, another button, and result, degrees Fahrenheit, right? So now I've got a place that I can enter in a value for Fahrenheit degrees converting to Celsius, and a place that I can enter in Celsius degrees converting to Fahrenheit. But that seems kind of redundant, doesn't it? So let me think about a different way I might design this. Let me set this off to the side here a second. Kind of keep it underneath so you can see it. You know, at its core, what I'm looking at is I need a text box, a button, and a result box, right? The thing that's different is what conversion I'm doing and what my labels are. I could get by with kind of merging those together, couldn't I? I'm going to have a temperature this is a label here. It's either going to read degrees Fahrenheit or degrees Celsius. And I'm going to have a button here called degrees Fahrenheit and a button here called degrees Celsius. And then a result. And then another label here. It's either going to be degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit. Right? And the way this is going to behave, for example, degrees Fahrenheit button, when it's pushed, what's it going to do? It's going to do a couple things. It's going to set the original label, that one, to degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. It's going to store the result. And it's going to set the result label to degrees Celsius. That's the result label. Yeah? And if I push the degrees Celsius button, it's going to do the same thing, except it's going to set the original label to degrees Celsius. It's going to convert. It's going to do the math to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. It'll store the result down here still, the same. And it's going to set this bottom label to degrees Fahrenheit. Does that make sense what we're doing there? If you want, now might be a good time to pause and give it a go. but I'm going to start working on it right now. So let's go ahead into App Inventor. I'm going to create a new project called temperature. Okay, let's take a look at what that looked like. So I've got, what, a label, a text box, 2 buttons, a label, a text box, 2 other labels. Okay, let's see what I can do. So first I'll add a label out here. And these have to be side by side, right? So I'm going to use that horizontal layout. I need a horizontal layout. And what goes in there? A text box and a label. Okay. Then I want another horizontal layout. Actually, I'm going to grab 2 of those while I'm at it. One for my buttons. Button. Button. Could put a text box in and make it disabled. That means the user's not able to enter any values into it. Let's do that. And a label, just to keep things clean. Okay, let's go and adjust some properties here. So, text for label 1, this is supposed to say temperature. This, I'm going to start, actually I'm going to leave this one blank to start with. Empty. And I'm going to leave this one blank to start with. Button 1, I want this to say Fahrenheit. And this one to say Celsius. Okay. Good, good, good. Now let's see. The other thing I probably ought to do for organizing myself here is name these things nicely, right? So this top one is my temperature label. Temp label. This is my, what, original temperature? Orig temp. This is my original label. This one is my Fahrenheit button. F-A-H-R. This is my Celsius button. And again, the reason I'm renaming these is it makes it a lot easier once we get into the block editor. Let's see. This is my result temp. Oops. Result temp, and this is my result label. Okay, good. I think that's my interface, right? Is there anything else I need in my interface? Nope, don't think so. Let's see. Oh, one thing I probably ought to do is my temperatures are numbers, right? So let's go ahead and turn on that numbers only. Numbers only, good. Alrighty. Let's take a look at the block editor then. So what do I want to do? I wrote it down, didn't I? When the Fahrenheit button is pushed, I want to set the original label to degrees Fahrenheit. I can do that, right? When the Fahrenheit button is pushed, I want to set the original label's text property to Fahrenheit, right? And that's a literal value. GIT, Fahrenheit. You know what I'm going to put a space in front of it too, just so it spaces it nicely. Okay. Convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay. So I'm going to need to do some math there, right? First thing I need to do is get my original temperature value. Get the text out of that. I know I need that. Get the original temperature. And what is the equation for that? Does anyone remember? Oh, it is Fahrenheit minus 32. So subtraction. Original temp minus 32, literally the value 32. Times 5/9. Let's see, so I can do division. Five, 9, and multiplication, right? Multiplication. So it's my original temp minus 32 times 5 divided by 9. Okay, so that's my new temperature. And I want to set that in my resulting temperature. Resulting temperature, text. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one, didn't I? So I want to set it, not get it, right? Set my result temperature text to that. So there's the conversion, storing the result, and now I need to, set the resulting label, right? And so, you know what, I'm just going to duplicate that. Duplicate, it's not the original label, it's the result label to Celsius. Keywords are goofy. Celsius. There we go. This I don't need, I can put that in the trash. And I should be good. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so here's my value. I'm going to put in 212 Fahrenheit is 100 degrees Celsius. And let's see if I can do 32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. Good. And it's 76 degrees outside today, so it's 24 degrees Celsius. Okay, and my Celsius button, it doesn't do anything. You want to try that yourself? See how you do. Okay, the Celsius button, you know what? It does almost exactly the same thing. So let's just duplicate this block here. And again, you see it's complaining. I've got an error message going on because I've got two event handlers handling the Fahrenheit button. That's why I've got that red triangle, that red warning there, or that red error message actually is what that is. So I need to make sure I change this. So now I've got when the Celsius button is pushed and when the Fahrenheit button is pushed. And what do I need to do? I need to switch these guys around, right? So when the original label is now Celsius and the result label is now Fahrenheit, and my math is a little bit different now too, right? But it's going to be kind of similar. It's 9/5 times the original temperature plus 32. right? There we go. So how does that read? First thing I'm going to do is the innermost thing, 9 times 5 times the original temperature, and then at the end I'm going to add 32. So that should work now. Let's take a look. If I put in, let's see, 100 degrees Celsius is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Great. And 0 Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit. That seems good. And what did I say? It was about 24 out right now. 24 is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, looks good. So that's how we create a simple app that does this basic metric conversion for us. You can imagine doing similar kinds of things on your own, right, for different kinds of conversions. We can take the whole range of metric conversions. Why don't you take some time and try one out? It's a good way to practice.